What's good, y'all? Coach V here, and I am your host for this episode 403, currently being recorded on September 23rd, 2024 here. And I'll talk about why here in a minute, but it is your 2024 Colorado Girls High School Flag Football Week 5 recap. We're talking about games all the way from September 17th to September 23rd here. A lot of games to talk about, a lot of games we went to in person. We got 3 pretty good games that we went to in person here, and then we'll recap all the games, then we'll talk Playmaker of the Week, and then Power Rankings, and then in our outro, we'll talk a little bit about some of these mid-season award races going on right now. But just want to throw this out there, the reason I'm recording this on September 23rd is because I'm going to a game on September 24th right after here, Valor Christian versus TCA. So that recap of that game will be on episode 405, I want to say. So make sure you tune in for that next week here. But let's go ahead and head into these game recaps that we have for y'all. All right, now let's go ahead and talk about this matchup here between number 8 Heritage, according to our power rankings last week, hosting number 3 Chaparral. Chaparral undefeated going into this game, one of the lone undefeated teams in the state for both boys and girls football here, which is absolutely big time there. Then you got Heritage here, who lost to Arapahoe and Thunder Ridge, who were there for the Arapahoe game. That was an overtime game right at the beginning of the season, and then lost to Thunder Ridge last week. But still a good team holding on in our top 10. So let's go ahead and hop into it, chap. They'll start with it, and the freshman quarterback, Zoe Fink, gets this one started with a shot down the right sideline to one of her favorite targets, number 50, Sydney Matthews, the sophomore, who brings it in but is not able to get a foot in bounds on what would have been a tough catch there. So it's incomplete to start. They then toss it right here, I believe, to O'Donnell, who is stopped for a loss by Ryan Taylor of Heritage. That brings up 3rd and 6 here. On 3rd down, Fink just goes ahead and scrambles right up the middle to get the first down. 1st and 20 here. On 1st down here, Fink takes a shot up the seam to Jamie Baum, but it's incomplete. On 2nd, Fink rolls right and then scrambles here, getting about 10 here. And then it looks like Fink is out for this next upcoming play here, because she did go down momentarily, and so they go ahead and run a direct snap here to number 13. That would be Jaden Greenstreet here, I want to say, who runs right, but an illegal contact on the defense will go ahead and give them the first down here. 1st and 18 past midfield as they get out of that tough sitch early on. They then run a quick RPO here on 1st down and throw it to the flat here. Fink finding Nicole Cook, the senior, who makes it 2nd and 12. And then toss it left here to Sophia O'Donnell, who then cuts it back to make it 3rd and 10 on a quick 2-yard gain. They then go left here to Sophie Matthews, who gives them the first down in the red zone. After an incompletion here, Fink on 2nd down just checks it back down to Matthews here, who makes it 3rd and 6, and then hand it off to O'Donnell, who cuts it right, but is stopped just short of the end zone. So now it's 4th and 4 here, a key 4th down, and on 4th down, Fink with a quick throw on the out route to Salem Sherman. She brings it in to go ahead and make it 6-0 with 4:57 left. The PAT try is no good, and so Heritage, they take over here with 4:57 left. And so here we go, Abby Nichols in at quarterback. She throws a quick swing route left here to Jillian Taylor, who gets the first down here. Then it's a quarterback dive who goes for about 3. Then it's a handoff here to Taylor, who stopped for a loss by number 46 of Chap. I want to say it's 46. I believe that's Molly McWilliams, their rusher. So now that brings up 3rd down, and on 3rd down, Nichols goes ahead and throws it down the left sideline, and number 10 for them, that would be Avalon Lux Offerman, just goes ahead and stops and catches it for a huge gain to give them a first down in the red zone here. There's an absolute heads-up play where she just bosses the DB. And so here we go. 1st and 17 here. Nichols throws the corner out to number 31. That's Claire, the sophomore, who goes ahead and makes it 2nd and 1. Then it's a QB run, but that goes for a loss thanks to a tackle here by Sophie Matthews. So now it's 3rd and 3. But a check down to number 17, Adelaide Busek, goes ahead and gives them the touchdown to tie this one at 6-6. And then Nichols throws the out route here on the PAT, which is good to make it 7-6. Heritage taking the lead with 1 minute left here in the second quarter. Let's go ahead and actually just skip to the second quarter here. It's 2nd and 17 for Chap after they get the first down thanks to a Sophia O'Donnell run here. On 2nd and 17, Fink throws a slant, but it's knocked down, bringing up 3rd down. Chap then calls its first timeout at 11:10 here. Following the timeout here, Fink rolls out left and is caught by number 11. That is Salem Sherman. And that forces them to punt it as she was short. And so Heritage takes over with the 1st and 1 with 10:28 left, a chance to extend this lead. On 1st down, Nichols rolls almost all the way left and then throws it deep to number 10, Avalon Lux Offerman, who once again stops, posts up, and goes up in skies for this one and brings it in to make it 1st and 20 on a big 1st down past the midfield here. Just a huge play. But following that, Nichols gets sacked by a couple rushers, led by Sophie Matthews. So now it's 2nd and 24. On 2nd down, the snap is mishandled here and dropped. And so now it's 3rd and long. And then on 3rd down, Nichols tries to throw it. There is a penalty, though, afterwards. It's incomplete. But there's a penalty for roughing the passer. And so that's a 10-yard penalty and an automatic first here. So now it's 1st and 5 approaching midfield as they did get pushed back. And then now, so field position wise, they did go back, but it's a 1st and 5 here after those couple plays. So a lot going on. But on 1st and 5, the passes drop. So on 2nd down here, Nichols just scrambles down the right sideline, but illegal contact on the offense will take that away, which would have been a 1st down, and now make it 2nd and 14. On 2nd and 14, Nichols tries to run, but is stopped by number 28 here, Mia Lago, who stops her for a loss. So now it's 3rd and 16. A false start on the offense makes it 3rd and 21. On 3rd and 21, Nichols tries to buy time. She ends up scrambling down the right sideline for a pretty big run here, but is stopped short. It's 4th and 6. Heritage punts it, not being able to take advantage of that great field positioning to start, unfortunately. And so Chap, they take over here, but they would go 3 and out. A couple of scrambles here would just be stopped. And would just not work out for them. They would have a 1st and 17 to start there, so they would end up punting it. Heritage, they would take over and have a 1st and 2 with 4:28 left, and this drive would start with Nichols finding Avalon Lux Offerman on the slant, who gives them a first, who's having herself a game here. It's now 1st and 9 approaching midfield. Nichols scrambles right, gets about 3 yards here. Following of that, there's a throw that's incomplete, and then Nichols, she tries to go deep here, looking either for the post or seam, but it's just not there, and it is intercepted with one hand by Chaparral's number 13, Jaden Greenstreet, the senior for them, making a sensational catch and then giving them a nice return past midfield as Chap takes over past midfield with a 1st and 6 with 2:12 left here in the half. On 1st down, Fink scrambles, but is stopped for about 4. On 2nd down, and this is after the 2-minute warning, she hands it off right, but to O'Donnell, who gets the first, but flag guarding brings that one back. So now it's 3rd and 12. On 3rd down, Fink throws it to the flat here to number 24, which I believe that will be Nicole Cook on the catch, who goes ahead and gets a couple, but it is not enough. It's 4th and 7 here. Chap calls a timeout at the 41-second mark. Obviously, they're going to go for it. And so after the timeout, here's what happens. Fink just scrambles right for the 1st down here, just barely getting it. So now it's 1st and 20 in the red zone here. On first down, Fink throws the one-on-one ball to Jamie Baum here, but it is knocked away by number 25 of Heritage, which will be Caroline Belair, who made the play there. Then on second down, it's overthrown. On third down, there's about 18 seconds left. Fink throws the curl to Baum, who then tries to pitch it, but her flag is pulled before she can. So now it's 4th and 15. Chap calls a timeout with 12 seconds left. And on fourth down here, trying to get a score, Fink throws it to Baum here, but this one is shut down, and so that's a turnover on downs. Heritage basically just takes a knee, or sorry, they run it with 10 seconds left and then go to half. And so here we go, Heritage with the lead 7-6, and they also get the ball here. But to start this drive, it does not go well. It's a deflected pass. Then the check down is dropped on second. And then on third down, Nichols scrambles right, but is short. And so they go 3 and out, having to punt. And so Chap takes over with a 1st and 9 approaching midfield here. A tough missed opportunity there for Heritage. It starts with the power option. It's pitched to O'Donnell, who makes it 2nd and inches. Then O'Donnell gets a handoff. She gets the 1st down. And then it is worth saying, it's 1st and 10 here, but there is an injury here, and it's Ryan Taylor, the standout player for Heritage, who goes down, and it looks like an ankle injury, and it does not look good. She is helped off the field here, carried off the field here by Abby Nichols, and she would not come back for the rest of this game. So that's a massive hit to Heritage in this one. But following of that, it's 1st and 10, 9 minutes, 11 seconds left. Fink scrambles right. She gets about, I want to say 3 yards there. It's then a dropped handoff here, which is rare, I feel. So now it's 3rd and 12 on a loss of 5, but a quick throw to number 24 in the flat. That's Nicole Cook. Will make it a more manageable 4th and 5. Obviously, they're going to go for it. And so on 4th and 5, Fink gets it, rolls out left, and throws it to number 11 here. That's Salem Sherman, who gets the 1st down, and the 1st down in the red zone, by the way. So now it's 1st and 19 as they threaten to score. They then throw the quick swing route here to number 50. That would be Sydney Matthews, who gets about 4 there. They then throw a tunnel screen to 50, who momentarily has an opening here, but a diving flag pull by number 27 of Heritage. That would be Richards, the sophomore. Finley Richards, the sophomore, would keep it at 3rd and 10. Then a drop snap here would make it 4th and 15. And so here's what happens. On 4th and 15, Fink takes a shot right, but PI/tripping on Heritage, and by the way, it was incomplete, would give them another chance. So now it's 4th and 5 here, following that penalty on Heritage. Following that, they hand it off to Sophia O'Donnell, who slices and dices in for the touchdown here. But a penalty would be called on both teams, so it would offset, and they would run 4th down for the 3rd straight time here. And here's what happens. Fink throws the quick slant here to number 50. That's Sydney Matthews, who goes ahead and reaches over and gives them the lead, the 12-7 lead with 3:46 left. Following that, Fink would then throw the out route here to, it says 52. I don't know if that's right or not, but either way, she catches it and she makes it 13-7. Heritage, they take over here, and they do get a nice 1st down on a quick hitch to number 27. That would be Finley Richards, who gives them a 1st down. But then there's an incompletion, and there's a big sack by number 12 of Chap. That would be Sophie Matthews, to make it 3rd and 25, and then another mishandled snap would force a punt after that initial 1st down. And so Chap, they take over with 1st and 20, just past midfield, with 1:18 left after that drive. But let's go ahead and fast forward to the 4th quarter. It is now 3rd and 6 after a couple passing plays for Chap here. They hand it off to O'Donnell, who makes some nifty moves and puts Chap in the red zone with the 1st and 6, almost scoring on this one by O'Donnell, but just getting pulled right before. Following that, Fink rolls right and throws kind of a dangerous pass, which is almost picked, but it is incomplete there. So 2nd down now. Fink throws the check down here to number 50. Sydney Matthews once more, who makes it 3rd and 3. And then they just call a draw to O'Donnell, who goes up the middle to make it 19-7. 2-point conversion's no good, but Chap with a very dominant lead, 19-7, with 9:49 left. Now for Heritage, they just struggled to get going here. Nichols would give them the initial first down here, but a huge sack by Chap's Addison Landgren on a key second down would make it a long 3rd and 20. Heritage would call a timeout to talk about it at 6 minutes 20 seconds left, but after the timeout, Nichols would just end up scrambling right, breaking some tackles, making it a more manageable 4th and 7. Heritage would then call another timeout at 5:54, which is not, I don't know if that's the best use of timeouts considering you're down by 2 scores here. But following that, Nichols would then throw the corner to Lux Offerman, but unfortunately this one would be dropped. And so it's a turnover on downs, and basically Chap would just run this one out. They would end up scoring one more time here. A high catch by number 50, Sydney Matthews, to end this drive would make it 26-27. And that would pretty much end this game as Chap wins 26-7 here over Heritage. And honestly, what was a much closer game until the 4th quarter. Just got some stats to go over here real quick. Let's talk about Heritage. Abby Nichols, 14 of 26, 193 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, also 85 rushing yards. Their lead receiver, Avalon Lux Offerman, 4 for 86. Jillian Taylor right behind her with 3 for 55. And then Busek here with their lone receiving touchdown. On defense, Ryan Taylor, even though she got hurt in the 3rd, led with 8 tackles, followed by Richards with 7. And then, yeah, that would pretty much be it. No turnovers forced by them. For Chap, Zoe Fink continues to play well here. Efficient, 17 of 26, 126 yards, 2 touchdowns. Sophia O'Donnell had herself a day. 13 carries, 118 yards, 2 touchdowns. As far as receiving goes, Salem Sherman led. 5 receptions, 42 yards, and a touchdown. Nicole Cook right behind her with 4 for 31. On defense here, Jaden Greenstreet led with 6 tackles. Sophie Matthews had 2 sacks. Brantley had a sack, and then Greenstreet with that big time interception as well in this game. And so Chap wins a big one, 26-7. They were down at half, but they came back with a strong 4th quarter. For Heritage, I really think the loss of Ryan Taylor probably demoralized them a little bit, or at least it seemed that way. And it just kind of came at a really bad time there, as once she went down, I mean, Chap would go down and score right after she went down, which is just tough to have. She's one of the best defenders and players in the state. Football is definitely better with her playing, and so we're hoping that it's not that serious and that she has a good recovery here. But that is a tough loss for Heritage. They were hanging right in there until that. And then Chap, I mean, they just played very efficient football from then on. The offense for Heritage just struggled at times too, as his defense kind of closed it. And the pressure just built as Chap built that lead too. So just a tough go for them. But altogether, I thought it was a pretty good game. A lot of big time plays here. Chap showed me a lot. You know, I think this is their 2nd top 10 win of the season, so that's big time. They're rolling right now. For Heritage, they just got to rally and respond here moving forward. They got Douglas County, Columbine, Mounted Vista, Legend, and Pondo to end the season. Those are some tough games ahead, and so we'll see what happens moving forward here. But we know at full strength that this is a team that could compete with a lot of teams in the top 10. So we'll just have to see what happens moving forward. But there you go there. That's your final. Number 3, Chaparral taking down number 8, Heritage, 26-7.
What is good, y'all? This is Gino with the Playmakers Corner podcast, and I am very excited to give y'all a recap between 2 very good 4A squads, that being the Elizabeth Cardinals and the hosting Vista Ridge Wolves. This is a game that ended very closely and went all the way down to the wire, so let's not waste any more time and go ahead and jump right into this recap. Starting us off here is Elizabeth ball, 1st and 6 for them. On first down, a sweep goes to Rachel Doan, and that is stopped by Josie Gonzalez for a loss of 5 to make it 2nd and 11. On 2nd and long, the pass is picked off by Sydney Bauer to give Vista Ridge the ball at the 11-yard line. So that will be Vista ball 1st and 11 in the red zone following that interception from Bauer. On first down, a sweep goes to Samira Jackson, and she makes a nice cut inside on the carry for about 5 yards. And then on 2nd down, London Machado stops a run at the line of scrimmage to make it 3rd and 6. On 3rd down, Meta Huestis is open over the middle as Ariana Harris hits her easily for the touchdown to make it 6-0 with 8:06 left here in the first quarter. And then Brooklyn Kaiser caught a jump ball on the extra point to make it 7-0. Vista Ridge leads. It will be 1st and 6 now for Elizabeth following the score. On first down, a sweep for a loss of 4 as Josie Gonzalez gets another tackle for loss here. On 2nd and 10, it is Sydney Bauer once again who picks off the pass in the red zone to give Vista Ridge yet another prime opportunity to go up again. It will be Vista Ridge ball 1st and 15 in the red zone. Unfortunately for Vista Ridge, though, they would end up turning the ball over on downs here as Elizabeth gets a much-needed red zone stop, and they will get the ball back 1st and 17 near their own end zone. On first down, a handoff goes to Emma Gold for 3 yards to make it 2nd and 15. And then on 3rd down, following an incomplete pass, the quarterback, Abigail Munchak, rolls out right, and Josie Gonzalez gets the sack for a safety. And that gives Vista Ridge a 9-0 lead, and that will take us to the end of the first quarter as Vista Ridge is definitely dominating early in this game here. On 1st and 6 for Vista Ridge, a flag on the first play makes it 1st and 16. A QB keeper goes for 4 yards, and then a power option pitch to Andrea Martinez goes for 11 yards to make it 3rd and 1 here. On 3rd and short, a sweep goes to Ashley Guiao. Sorry if I mispronounced that name there. And that one goes for a big gain to put the Wolves near midfield. On 1st and 10, London Machado gets a pressure and forces an incompletion on a check down. And then on 2nd down, a sweep goes to Sydney Bauer as Elizabeth gets a diving flagpole at the line of scrimmage to make it 3rd and medium. On 3rd down, Olivia Nelson breaks up a deep pass as Vista Ridge will set up to punt here. It is 1st and 12 for Elizabeth following that punt. And Elizabeth would actually end up turning it over on downs here as Ashley Guiao shut down this drive, making some big plays. And you also had Josie Gonzalez who got a sack. So it is a big-time start here for Josie Gonzalez and the Vista Ridge defense. So it will be 1st and 19 for Vista Ridge with under 2 minutes left following that turnover on downs. On 1st down, Addison Verona takes a pitch for a few yards, but a flag guarding penalty makes it 2nd and 29. On 2nd down, a deep ball to Ashley Guiao is somehow caught, plus an illegal contact penalty on Elizabeth makes it 3rd and 9. On 3rd and medium, Guiao takes a quick pass and jukes out of a flagpole and spins her way to make it 4th and 6 as Vista Ridge calls timeout with 1 minute and 5 seconds left here in the first half. Following the timeout, Sofia Angulo Alfaro gets in the QB's face and forces a dangerous pass that is picked off by Tessa Paulus to give Elizabeth the ball with 59 seconds left in the first half. It will be 1st and 2 here for Elizabeth following that interception from Paulus. A handoff to Emma Gold goes for a yard after Josie Gonzalez shut that play down as Elizabeth calls timeout with 52 seconds left. Following the timeout, Sydney Bauer nearly picks off a pass for her 3rd of the game, but it will fall incomplete. On 3rd and 1, a handoff goes to London Machado for a 1st down as Elizabeth calls timeout with 31 seconds left here in the first half. Following the timeout, the QB Abigail Munchak fakes the handoff, rolls out right, and her pass gets away from her to make it 2nd and 19. On 2nd down, Abigail Munchak rolls out right, and her ball across the field is nearly picked off by Brooklyn Kaiser, and it will be 3rd and 19 here with 23 seconds left. On 3rd and long, a deep pass intended for Olivia Nelson is overthrown there with good coverage from Sydney Bauer. It will be 4th and 19 as Elizabeth will set up to punt here. Brooklyn Kaiser actually took that punt down the sideline for a massive, massive return to make it 1st and 5 near the red zone with only 4 seconds left. And Vista Ridge will get one opportunity to try and score here. And they try a double pass, and it falls incomplete, and that will take us to halftime as Vista Ridge leads Elizabeth 9-0. It will be Vista Ridge ball, 1st and 6 here to start off the second half, but they would actually end up punting it here as Sofia Angulo Alfaro and Olivia Nelson made some big-time plays there on defense to force the punt. And London Machado catches the punt and gets good field position for the Cardinals to make it 1st and 4 near the red zone with 8:55 left here in the third quarter. On first down, a dangerous pass is almost picked off by Sydney Bauer for her 3rd of the game, but it is somehow caught by Cody Bauer to make it 1st and 13 in the red zone. Following an incomplete pass, a quick pass over the middle to Summer Ferris goes for a decent gain to make it 3rd and 6. On 3rd down, a pass to Cody Bauer is incomplete, but pass interference makes it 3rd and 3. On 3rd and short, a direct snap goes to London Machado, who takes it up the middle for the Elizabeth touchdown. It is 9-6 now with 4:30 left here in the third quarter, and the extra point was no good. 1st and 6 here for Vista Ridge, but they would actually end up punting it on this next drive. They would go 3 and out here, and that gives Elizabeth a prime opportunity to take the lead in this game. It is 1st and 15 for Elizabeth following the punt. Encroachment on Vista Ridge makes it 1st and 10, and then on 1st down, Abigail Munchak fakes the handoff and rolls out left, and Cody Bauer is open, but the ball falls incomplete to make it 2nd and 10, and that would take us to the end of the third quarter where Vista Ridge leads Elizabeth 9-6. It is 2nd and 10 for Elizabeth to start the final quarter of the game. Let's go ahead and see what happens here. The 2nd down pass is dropped, and then on 3rd down, the QB Abigail Munchak fakes the handoff and rolls out right and finds Olivia Nelson for a 1st down in the red zone. It will be 1st and 20 here for Elizabeth. On 1st down, Brooklyn Kaiser picks off a pass in stride for a potential game-ending 60-yard pick 6 for the Vista Ridge Wolves. It is now 16-6 with 9 minutes and 30 seconds left after Kaiser caught yet another jump ball on the extra point, and that will make it a 2-score lead here. But let's go ahead and see what happens here as it is Elizabeth's ball, 1st and 6 following the score. On 1st down, Abigail Munchak forces a pass down the sideline, and it is picked off by Grace Donahue with 7 minutes and 30 seconds left. That is Vista Ridge's 4th interception of the game. It is 1st and 11 for Vista Ridge now near their own end zone, following the interception from Donahue. A handoff to Addison Brown goes for 6 yards as Vista Ridge calls timeout with 6:47 left in the game. Following the timeout, a double pass to Brooklyn Kaiser, who launches one deep, and it bounces off the receiver's chest. That one definitely would have went for a touchdown, but instead it is 3rd and 5. On 3rd down, Ariana Harris keeps it, and Sofia Angulo Alfaro gets a nice flagpole to make it 4th and 3, and Vista Ridge will go for it here. On 4th down, a deep pass from Ariana Harris is nearly picked by Amanda Casaretto, so it will be a turnover on downs. But let's go ahead and skip ahead here a little bit. It is now 1st and 19 for Elizabeth with 1 minute and 50 seconds left in the game here. They are down 2 scores. On 1st down, Emma Goal takes a handoff for a nice gain and nearly breaks loose. And then on 2nd and 13, a pass to Olivia Nelson is shut down by Sydney Bauer, as Elizabeth calls timeout with 1 minute and 35 seconds left in the game here. On 3rd and 8, a pass to Olivia Nelson is stopped by Josie Gonzalez, and it will be 4th and 5 as Elizabeth uses another timeout with 1 minute and 27 seconds left. A direct snap goes to London Machado, who nearly breaks loose but still gets the 1st down. On 1st and 15, Abigail Munchak's throw across her body falls incomplete, and then a Statue of Liberty play as Olivia Nelson takes it for 5 yards. As Elizabeth calls their final timeout of the game with 1 minute and 5 seconds left. Following the timeout, a quick pass to London Machado is stopped by Grace Donahue. On 4th and 6, a deep ball to London Machado over the top of the defense is caught as Machado takes it in for the score. It will be 16-12 with 34 seconds left following an incomplete extra point try. And that, folks, will be our final score in this one as Vista Ridge gets the close win over Elizabeth at home, 16-12. And before I wrap up this recap, I just want to talk very briefly about both teams and just what I saw in that game, starting off with Vista Ridge. I would say Vista Ridge's defense is very talented and can definitely be a top unit in 4A. Sydney Bauer and Josie Gonzalez are two extremely valuable playmakers that will disrupt any team's passing attack. The offense, though, is a little on the weaker side schematically from what I saw. Not a lot of shots downfield and a few too many end-arounds and sweeps for my liking. I think they should really consider using Brooklyn Kaiser's arm to their advantage by using more 2 QB sets in the future. This will let them take more shots down the field and it will get them more points on the board. Overall, though, I really like the defensive scheme and the talent that this Vista Ridge squad has for them, and they should definitely be a threat come playoff time. Now for Elizabeth, surprisingly, the Cardinals stayed in this game despite 2 red zone interceptions to start off the game. Elizabeth has some nice playmakers defensively like Sophia Angulo Alfaro and Olivia Nelson, who helped keep the Cardinals competitive in this one. They are a bit limited offensively, though, with a fairly simple pass attack and a run game that probably won't blow any top teams away. This is a program with a lot of promise, and I am still very excited to see what they can do in the playoffs this year. And that, folks, will do it here in this recap. This is Gino with the Playmakers Corner podcast checking out, and I will see you all next week. Peace out.
All right, now let's go ahead and talk about the September 21st Saturday game between Mullen and Arapahoe. Mullen going into this game on a 6-game winning streak since losing to Heritage, I believe, in a pretty tough pullout loss for them. And then you got Arapahoe on the other end, who did beat Heritage earlier on in the season, and they just previously lost to Chatfield in kind of a tough, close game that came down to the wire. And so let's go ahead and head into this. Arapahoe hosting this game here. Let's go ahead and get into the first quarter. Arapahoe with the ball, and it's a handoff right that goes for maybe 2 yards here. Not much there. On second down, Whitney Folger, the freshman quarterback, goes ahead and drops back, but she is sacked right away by number 4 of Mullen. That's Emily Anderson, the senior for them. And so now that brings up 3rd and 11. And on third down, Folger throws it, and it's picked off by number 7, Sophia Cooper, who gives Mullen the ball in the red zone with 10:36 left here, only in the first quarter. And so Mullen already in the red zone, looking to get something going, goes ahead and drops back here for a pass, but number 30 of Arapahoe gets in there. That's Riley Kelly for a big-time sack to go ahead and make it 2nd and 15. Following that, the quarterback for Mullen, which I believe is Steffi Thomas, goes ahead and gets about 6 yards on the run, right? Setting up 3rd and 8. And then on 3rd and 8 here, it's number 11, Aaliyah Garcia, on the handoff, who gets it for a nice gain near the end zone. It's now 4th and 3. And so here we go. 4th down in the red zone. Obviously, they're going to go for it. It's a play action pass intended for number 22, Mary Jane Archibald, but it is overthrown here. And so that's a turnover on downs. Good defense for Arapahoe. And so they take over basically near their own end zone with a 1st and 17, 9:14 left here. A short pass from Folger to Lexa LaDuff goes ahead and gives them about 13, making it a manageable 2nd and 4 there. Then there's a screen to number 11, Izzy Usagani, but that's shut down by number 18 of Mullen here, Charlie Smith, setting up a 3rd down and 3. On third down here, Whitney Folger, she rolls out right and finds number 20 who's open, and she goes ahead and brings that in. That's Taylor Bradley who gets the first down, a 1st and 18. On first down here, Folger drops back again, but she gets sacked here by Charlie Smith, and so that makes it 2nd and 23 here. On 2nd and 23, Folger goes ahead and rolls out right here, and she tries to throw it. She's under pressure here. She does throw it, but the rusher for Mullen, that would be 28, Julie Tucker, just kind of plucks this one out of the air right in front of her. For a second, it looks like she strips the ball, but you can't do that in flag football. Folger definitely throws it, and 28 definitely intercepts it. So that's an interception right there. So now Mullen with another red zone trip, 1st and 11 here. Here's what happens. On first down, it's incomplete. Good pass coverage by number 4 of Arapahoe. That would go ahead and be Carissa Skirtle on that one. On second down here, they go ahead and run an end around, but that is shut down pretty quickly for only 3 yards. I believe Hannah Cadwallader was on that play there. So now it's 3rd and 8, and on 3rd and 8 here, they throw it, but Carissa Skirtle gets another bat down on this lob pass to number 12 of Mullen. That's Chloe Pelster, and it's a nice play by Skirtle to go ahead and body her for that one. Just a good pass deflection there. And so now it's 4th and 8. And on 4th and 8, their quarterback goes ahead and scrambles here, but number 20 of Arapahoe shuts that down well before they get into the end zone. And so that's Taylor Bradley on the stop. And so that's another turnover on downs, 2 red zone trips for Mullen, and 0 points for them against Arapahoe. So now it's 1st and 18 for Arapahoe near their own end zone here. Mullen rushes 3 and forces a dangerous check down, which is incomplete. That brings up 2nd and 18 here. Number 4 for Mullen, that would be Emily Anderson, gets some pressure there and forces yet another incompletion, and so that brings up 3rd and 18 here for Arapahoe. On this 3rd down, it ends up being incomplete, so they go 3 and out once more and they punt it. And so for the first time this game, Mullen does not start in the red zone here. And so here we go. It's a rollout left here, thrown to number 22 of Mullen. That is Mary Jane Archibald. She goes ahead and gives them the first down past midfield. You then go ahead and run a sweep left, handing it off to Emerson Wolf here, who goes ahead and gets maybe a yard here. A nice stop by Arapahoe. They then run a speed option and then pitch it to number 11, Aaliyah Garcia, but she is stopped here. So now it's 3rd and 15. On 3rd down, they go deep, but this one's pretty easily knocked down, almost picked by Arapahoe. And so there you go there. And now they are going to go for it here, but there is nothing there. They check it down real quick to a number 37 or 38, I think. That's June Watkins, but that is very short here. And so 3 players pull her flag, and that's a turnover on downs. Not the most inspiring play calling by Mullen here on this first drive out of the red zone. And so they go ahead, and Arapahoe takes over with under 40 seconds, and they run an end around here to number 20, Taylor Bradley, who gets them a first down past midfield. And then that's when the first quarter ends. In the second quarter, it's 1st and 19 for Arapahoe. Folger throws it over the middle, but it's knocked down. That brings up 2nd down. And on 2nd, Folger goes back to Taylor Bradley here, who makes it 3rd and 18. On 3rd down, Folger, she's under pressure. She kind of just throws this one away. It's incomplete. And then on 4th, they decide to go for it. Folger, she throws it, but this one's pretty easily intercepted by Sophia Cooper. Just not the greatest throw on that one. And so Mullen takes over with the 1st and 10 here. They take a shot deep, but Alexa LaDuff of Arapahoe is there and gets this one right back for Arapahoe and picks it off. And so Arapahoe takes over with a 1st and 5 here. Still 0-0. And they go ahead on 1st down and check it down to number 15, Julia Holland, I want to say, or Holland, excuse me, who gets a first down. But a holding penalty would be thrown, so that's for sure a first down past midfield. Now 1st and 20. On 1st and 20, Folger throws it again, but once more, Mullen comes up with another pick. This time it's Sarah Gardner with the pick here. And so, a very sloppy offense on both sides of the ball. Mullen takes over though with a 1st and 3, and they call an end around to number 12, Chloe Pelster here, who goes ahead and gets a first down past midfield. Then they throw this corner route here to number 15, Keaton Erengwa Egbert, I want to say, who goes ahead and gets a nice gain, making it 2nd and 7. They then hand it off to 11, Aaliyah Garcia, who makes it 3rd and 2. And then on 3rd down, they check it down here on the quick pass to Emerson Wolf, who gives them a first down in the red zone, their 3rd trip of the day here. They then call an end around to Aaliyah Garcia. She gets about 5. They then throw it here. It is almost picked off but dropped. So there you go there. They then throw it to number 11, Aaliyah Garcia, who gets a pretty solid gain of about 10 here. So that brings up 3rd and 5. And on 3rd and 5 here, Mullen drops back looking for the pass. But Ruby Plub goes ahead and gets a pretty big sack here to set up 4th and 11. And on 4th down, they throw it into the end zone here, but it is broken up by Izzy Usagani. Just a good job, and LaDuff, just a good job playing that there, as Mullen gets 0 points once more on their 3rd red zone trip. Now Arapahoe, they take over with the 1st and 13. They start with an end around to Alexa LaDuff, who goes for a first down. So now it's 1st and 18 here. Then on 2nd down, first down, it's incomplete, so that brings up 2nd down here, where Folger on the option gets a couple yards, making it 3rd and 16, and then another incomplete pass would result in Mullen calling a timeout at 1:55, and Arapahoe punting it, going 3 and out, and so Mullen, they take over with a 1st and 1, just under 2 minutes. And so on 1st down for Mullen, it's a check down to number 21, Emerson Wolf, who goes ahead for a first down here, getting a first down and 2 yards. They then throw the drag route to Keaton Erengwa Egbert, who gets another first, putting them in the red zone again, setting up 1st and 8 here in the red zone. Then there's a low snap, so that's dropped. That's 2nd and 11. And then on 2nd down here, they go ahead and pitch it, but a penalty on Mullen would bring that play back. So now it's 2nd and 21. They then attempt a double pass, but number 18 for Arapahoe here, Ruby Plum, gets her 2nd sack of the game. And so that goes ahead and sets up a long 3rd down. On 3rd down, Mullen, they throw the dig here to number 12, Chloe Pelster, who goes ahead and gets a big gain, but it's still only 4th and 4. Mullen calls a timeout with 8 seconds left here. And then with 8 seconds left on 4th down, this is what Mullen does. They call a corner out here, but it's knocked down pretty easily by Izzy Usagani and Alexa LaDuff. So that is a turnover on downs. Basically 4 red zone trips here for Mullen in the first half, all resulting in no touchdowns. And so Arapahoe just needs it, they hand it off and run out the clock. So it's 0-0 going into the 3rd, Mullen starting with it. But the struggles on offense continue despite getting a first down thanks to a nice option play here past the midfield. They basically find themselves in a 4th and 5 situation here. And on 4th and 5, they try to throw it, but Hannah Cadwallader goes ahead and knocks it down. So that's a turnover on downs there. Arapahoe takes over with the 1st and 15, but their struggles also continue as Folger would throw another pick, it looks like, to Sarah Gardner. And so Mullen would take over with a 1st down and 5 with about 5:59 left here in the 3rd quarter. And then this is kind of where things started clicking for them. They run a sweep to Aaliyah Garcia up the right sideline. She makes it 1st and 7. Then they then call an end around here to Mary Jane Archibald, who makes it 2nd and 3. Then there's a drop pass here there. And then on third down, they pitch it back to Aaliyah Garcia, and she walks it in for Mullen at 3:46 here. They will then throw the out route, which is complete, to make it 7-0. The first lead for Mullen on their 5th red zone trip here. And so Arapahoe, they take over with 3:47 left. It's a rollout here, but she is sacked by Sarah Gardner, who's having herself a day here. But Whitney Folger, she goes ahead, and the freshman shakes that off, and on second down, makes the correct pre-snap read and throws the slant to number 25 of Arapahoe. That's Alexa LaDuff, who goes ahead and makes it 3rd and 2 here. A nice play there. And then another nice pre-snap read here by the freshman Whitney Folger. She goes ahead and throws the drag to number 20, Taylor Bradley, who breaks a tackle, and she is gone to the house as Arapahoe goes up and make it a 7-6 game here. The PAT would be complete on the quick out to number 37. That would be Lizzie Padilla to tie this game at 7-7 with 2:03 left. A great play here by Folger to find Taylor Bradley. 2 great plays in a row there to get this team going. And so here we go. It's a tie game as things are starting to pick up. Mullen, they go ahead and take over here. And it starts with a double pass, which goes deep here and is caught by one of their receivers. Couldn't quite see who it was down there, but a great catch there to give them a 1st down and 17 past midfield. They then go ahead and run the ball here, but a diving tackle flagpole by Arapahoe will now make it 2nd and 23, a loss of 6 on this run play. They then throw the drag to Aaliyah Garcia, but she stopped here for about an 8-yard gain. So now it's 3rd and 15, make it 3rd and 20 after a false start penalty here. And so on 3rd and 20, Mullen, they run the ball with their quarterback, and she is stopped pretty easily by Hannah Cadwallader there, and that ends the quarter. So in the 4th quarter, it's 4th and 15, and Mullen, they choose to punt here, but it's a pretty bad punt. I guess it hit off the foot of an Arapahoe rusher here, and I mean, it was a low punt anyway. So Arapahoe ends up with a 1st and 10 approaching midfield. And on 1st down, they do an end around to Alexa LaDuff, which goes for no gain there. And then on 2nd down here, they go ahead and throw it, but it's a high pass incomplete, so that brings up 3rd and 11. And on 3rd down, Folger, she scrambles left, but she stopped short, so now that's a 3 and out. Mullen, they take over here, and here's what happens. They run an end around to number 12 on 1st down. That's Chloe Pelster to make it 2nd down. They then run a reverse, which pretty much goes nowhere, and so now Mullen has to throw it, and here is what happens. They throw it, and Alexa LaDuff, she baits this one so easily here, and she picks this one off, and not only does she pick it off, but she takes it to the house as she puts Arapahoe up 13-7 here as the PAT is short. And so Mullen, they take over looking to get something here, and here's what it starts with. A check down to Emerson Wolf gives them a 1st down. Then there's a drop here, slash a nice pass deflection by Alexa LaDuff, and then on 2nd down there's a penalty thrown, so now it's 2nd and 5, and then on 2nd and 5, Mullen decides to run the ball with their quarterback. She gets 2 yards. They then check it down for a 1st down and 17 past midfield. Following that, they hand it off to Aaliyah Garcia on the end around, who turns it upfield and gets a huge 1st down, making it 1st and 2 in the red zone. Almost scoring on this one, but just getting her flag pulled here. After an incompletion, they go ahead and throw a quick hitch route here to Keaton Aaron Egbert, who scores to make it 13-13 as the PAT is no good. Now Arapahoe, they take over with 4:19 left, but a tough sack here by Sarah Gardner would basically kill this drive before it really got started here, and so they go 3 and out. Mullen, they take over with the 1st and 12 past midfield with about 2:02 left. They try to get something going here. They try with an end around to Chloe Pelster. That goes for about 2 yards. They then run a double pass here, which is a good play design, but the slant is slightly overthrown, so it's incomplete even though it was wide open. They then go ahead and have a free play here on an illegal block, but Obviously, that doesn't go anywhere as that's brought back, or it doesn't matter because it's brought back. So now it's 3rd and 18. Mullen calls a timeout with 1:10 left. They then call a reverse here, but a diving flag pull by Arapahoe's Riley Kelly makes it 4th and long, and so they'll punt, and Arapahoe calls a timeout with about 1:03 left. They will take over with 53 seconds left after the punt. 1st down approaching midfield. After a nice check down for some good yards here, a roughing the passer penalty would also be thrown. So now it's 1st and 10 with about 30 seconds left here. And this is past midfield. But on 1st down here, she is sacked. Whitney Folger is sacked by Sarah Gardner. So now it's 2nd and long. They then attempt a double pass here, and it's a long double pass thrown by number 13, caught by Alexa LaDuff. That makes it 1st down, now officially past midfield. So now 3rd and 1. Then they throw it here, but it is intercepted by Lily Evans, and that basically forces overtime. And so here we go, OT. We got college rules up in here in case you are not familiar with it. Each team gets a chance to score here, but the team that is not able to match is the team that loses. So each team's going to get a chance to score and go for a PAT, and then we'll go from there. It's a 1st and 20 to start. This thing's tied at 13-13. And so Mullen, they go ahead and start with it, and it's an end around here to Chloe Poster, who almost scores here, but is stopped just before. They then go ahead and hand it off right up the middle to Leah Garcia, who scores the touchdown to make it 19-13. The PAT is knocked away by Alexa LaDuff, so Arapahoe does have a chance to potentially score and win this game if they get the PAT. And so here we go, 1st down here. A slant goes for about 1 yard. This one goes to number 37, Lizzie Padilla here with the pressure in her face. Following that, they go ahead and throw it, but this pass is dropped, so that brings up 3rd down. On 3rd down, Folger, she throws it to LaDuff here to make it 4th down here. And on 4th down, here is what happens. They need to score to tie this game. Mullen with a chance to win it. Folger gets a snap, and she throws towards the right corner of the end zone here, and Alexa LaDuff goes ahead and she catches this jump ball, rips it away, keeps her feet inbounds over 2 defenders to tie this game at 19-19. Now, the PAT would not be good here, so just like that, Arapahoe will go ahead and start with the ball as we go into our, I want to say, one of our first double overtime games of the season, or one of the first ones we've covered in person. And so here we go. Arapahoe 1st down. Whitney Folger rolls left, evading the rush, and she finds number 13 wide open. That's Hannah Cadwallader there, who walks it in for the touchdown. As this was just a great play by the freshman Whitney Folger to step up against that rush and then find a wide open receiver here to give them the lead once more in double OT. On the PAT, the ball was knocked away, but a roughing the passer penalty will give Arapahoe one more chance. It's half the distance to the goal line, but Folger, she is sacked by Sarah Gardner. A pretty clutch sack here to stop this PAT. And so Mullen, they take over with the 1st and 10, and on 1st down, Keaton Egbert scrambles here to make it 2nd and 3. They then go ahead and call reverse, which is stopped by Izzy Usagani here to make it 3rd and 3, or keep it at 3rd down and 3 here. And now number 10 is in at quarterback again. That's a Lily Evans, as it looks like Egbert walks off the field for some reason, and she throws it here for this play, and it is knocked away by Lizzie Padilla. So now that sets up 4th and 3 here. And this is where things get interesting and controversial. On 4th and 3, by the way, number 15 comes back in at quarterback here. They have their starting quarterback back in. She goes ahead and throws it and finds number 22, Mary Jane Archibald, open here for the touchdown to tie this game at 25-25. And so here we go. Mullen with a chance to win this game on the PAT. Here's what happens on the snap. their quarterback goes ahead and gets it. She checks it down and it is knocked away. But as the ball is falling to the ground, a ref blows their whistle and it's very loud here. And so for a moment, everyone stops except for number 1 of Mullen. That's Xavi Garcia, who catches this one and then kind of casually strolls into the red zone here, into the end zone here. And as the refs are talking, they call this PAT good, even though there was a very obvious inadvertent whistle. So a lot of confusion, a lot of madness here, as Mullen has apparently won the game here off of a tipped pass, which was caught by Garcia, who kind of walks in. But like I said, the whistle was blown for some reason really fast, right when the ball got tipped at the line, looking like it's about to get knocked down. And all the defenders kind of just stop as the whistle is blown here. And it's a very interesting situation. And the refs, this is me being on the sideline listening to this, they gather up and one of the refs asked the other if they blew a whistle and they said no. But that cannot be right because someone definitely did, and we have the video evidence for that. And they basically went up to the Arapahoe coach, and what they told him is that they told him that the receiver caught the ball in the end zone as the whistle was blown, which is just a lie, pretty much, because it was obvious that the whistle was blown right when it got deflected down. And it's a very controversial ending here. We have been told that Arapahoe is going to go ahead and appeal this. There is some words said between the ref and the coaching staff over there, as the reffing crew threatened to throw out the Arapahoe head coach after he broke his clipboard. And so that is what it is there. So we'll see what happens here. Mullen gets the win tentatively. A 1-point win, 26-25 in double overtime off an inadvertent whistle here, which is a shame because this was such a good game here. I think the right thing to do would have been to replay the PAT and not blow the whistle really early before the play is actually over and pay attention. And they didn't do that. And so Mullen gets kind of a win here, and Arapahoe loses a tough one. Now, all that being said, we'll see what Chassa does. Chassa is Chassa, so, you know, they don't like doing things for the kids. So I kind of doubt that they're going to overturn anything or have this be replayed here, even though it should be. But it's definitely a very... I mean, it's a game that was kind of ruined by the refs. Let's be honest there. It shouldn't have been an inadvertent whistle. I don't know why he was blowing his whistle so early there, and it didn't make sense, and the explanation didn't make sense there. And honestly, at worst, it wouldn't have hurt to just replay the PAT, because it's not like it would have lost Mullen the game here. It would have still been tied, and most likely, if Mullen did not get the score on a replayed PAT, it would go into triple overtime, where it would have been anybody's game, honestly, as it was at this point. And so a tough game here for both teams. We'll just have to see what happens results wise, but I think we could all guess what's going to happen. Let's talk about Arapahoe real quick. Their defense played very well per usual. Offensively, a very slow start, pretty sloppy in the first half here, but they figured it out down the line, and their quarterback Whitney Folger made some great plays. Alexa LaDuff made some great plays. Taylor Bradley made some great plays to make this a competitive game, because it didn't look like it was going to be at the very beginning. But, you know, they kind of gutted it out and kept forcing overtime, kept extending this game, and it's very unfortunate that this game ended the way it did. So it is what it is there. For Mullen, they got a lot of athletes, tall athletes too. I think in 4A, they're going to be able to compete very well. The offensive play calling was definitely interesting. They keep running these end arounds with their very tall receiver, Chloe Pelster, and I don't know why. You should probably be throwing her the ball. You should probably be throwing the ball in general, to be honest with you. But they just didn't really do that a whole ton, which is interesting there. but their defense is really good. Their front seven is really nice. Sarah Gardner, I think, has a very, very strong argument for Playmaker of the Week. I think maybe our first defensive playmaker, by the way, to win it, as she just had a heck of a game here, going crazy for this team. She played a great game there. I want to shout out I think it's Junzi Jones, the senior linebacker, number 13 for Mullen. She made some great plays there. Emily Anderson made some great plays for them as well. I mean, they have a very tough rotation of rushers who make a lot happen. On the defensive side here, they got some good corners as well. Like I said, just a tall group, right? A very tall and athletic group. I think they're going to be able to make some noise here in the 4A playoffs this year. And then moving forward, they got a really good core to work with. Honestly, this is just my opinion, this is a team that could probably compete in 5A if they were in it, but they're going to be in the 4A playoffs, so we'll see what happens there. But this is definitely a team that could pose some matchup problems here once the playoffs started. Considering we've seen a lot of other 4A playoff teams, we kind of feel like they could match up very well defensively. Offensively, that's kind of where things get a little bit dicey. I don't know if it was just the game plan against Arapahoe to run the ball a lot, but that won't be super efficient against teams in the top 3 and 4. I'm talking Mountain View, TCA, Green Mountain, even probably Pomona, who are good flag pullers and will squeeze on that. So we'll see what happens for them moving forward. And that's just nitpicking, honestly. This is just a very talented team, but this year, we'll see what happens. I think they could be a little bit of a wild card dark horse here in these 4A playoffs. So there you go there, but a thrilling game regardless. Mullen, they get the double OT win, albeit a little controversial, 26-25 over Arapahoe. All right, now that we talked about those 3 games, let's go ahead and talk about the games we were not able to attend here, starting with Tuesday, September 17th here. A little battle of Aurora between Aurora Central and Aurora West College Prep Academy, and Central gets the win here, 31-6. No stats for this game, but it looks like here Aaliyah Lee of Aurora Central was selected as their player of the game, so that's a big win for them. Now moving on to Wednesday, we have a couple games here. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's talk about Elizabeth versus Lakewood. Elizabeth would blow out Lakewood 35-0 for them. Abigail Monchak, 13 of 21, 175 yards, 2 touchdowns to 1 pick here. London Machado, 2 carries for 43 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then Gwen Hackett was their lead receiver, 6 receptions, 113 yards, and a touchdown for them. On defense, it was the senior for them, Amanda Casaretto, who would lead with 7 tackles. And then their senior rusher, Sophia Angulo Alfaro, with 3 sacks. And then Tia Vernon with 2 picks in this game, and a dominant win for Elizabeth. For Lakewood here, they played 2 different quarterbacks in Milana Wiles and Caroline Bain here. Bain getting more attempts here, going 15 of 26 for 110 yards, though 2 picks on that one. Bain also had 5 receptions for 70 yards, kind of doing it all for them, as well as 5 tackles leading for them. Moving on, we have the battle for Parker, Legend versus Pondo, and this one was not close. Legend would win 33-7. We then have Thornton play Gateway, where Thornton beat Gateway 35-0 in this one. 4 passing touchdowns, but from 3 different quarterbacks here in Kiana Thompson, the sophomore, London Lore. By the way, Thompson with 2 throws, or 2 passing touchdowns, so there. London Lore with a passing touchdown, and then Annalicia Soto with a passing touchdown as they go ahead and take care of Gateway. Moving on, we have Chatfield versus Arapahoe. I was actually able to drop in for like a quarter of this game. I was able to go I want to say for about half the second quarter and then the first play of the third before I headed over to LPS to watch that Chaparral Heritage game. And this was a close one. Chatfield, though, pulling out the win here, 18-12. There are no stats, so for Chatfield that is, so I'll just have Arapahoe stats. Whitney Folger, the freshman, 22 of 34, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, also 26 rushing yards. Alexa LaDuff led in receiving with 7 receptions for 62 yards and a touchdown, and then Lizzie Padilla with 8 receptions for 45 yards here. Padilla also leading in tackles with 10, and then Izzy Usagani with an interception, and Cadwalder here with an interception, but that was not able to beat Chatfield, who took a lead when I was there in that second and third quarter. So there you go there. Moving on here, we have Legacy. They would go ahead, or sorry, I'm skipping ahead here. We have Lakewood. They would play Green Mountain. And as you could expect, this one was not super close here. Green Mountain would take care of Lakewood 41-0. Chloe Verbeek, 9 of 18, 110 yards, 2 touchdowns to 1 pick. Avery Friedman got in there at quarterback as well, 5 of 10 for 28 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. On the ground, Sasha Kalani with 4 carries for 72 yards and a touchdown. Kara Harris right behind her with 2 for 33 and a touchdown. Their lead receiver would be Marissa Van Gilder. No surprises there. 4 receptions, 67 yards and a touchdown. Sasha Kalani also 2 receiving touchdowns, kind of having herself a day there. And then Carly Cochran led with 5 tackles. And then this defense had 4 picks from Trotter, Schaefer, Almosh, and Benson here to go ahead and take care of Lakewood. For Lakewood, they played both Wills and Bain in at quarterback. Not much going for them, combining for 5 interceptions. Caroline Bain, once more, the lead receiver, 6 for 52 yards. Also had 9 tackles for them and 2 interceptions, but a tough go for Lakewood. Then we have Arvada West taking on Legacy, and this one was not close. Arvada West beats them 53-21. Sailor Swanson, 19 of 22, 295 yards, 6 touchdowns, also 26 rushing yards. Emerson Drake, the freshman, got him there and did all right as well. 10 of 14, 137 yards, 2 touchdowns, only 1 pick. As far as receiving goes, Molly Shellpepper, 8 receptions, 176 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Sarah Walker also had 10 receptions, 127 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then Centena Pena, 5 receptions, 75 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Harper Tillman was back for this one. She led with 6 tackles there, and then Danica Rodriguez-Gonzalez had a pick, and then Hadley Pugliese, I want to say, also had a pick in this game. For Legacy, Gianna Schmidt, 14 of 30, 144 yards, 3 touchdowns to 3 picks in that one. Rachel Jones had 2 receiving touchdowns. River Huang had a touchdown in this one there. And then Jones and Hernandez each had an interception on defense, but not enough to beat Arvada West as they take care of business 53-21 against Legacy. Cherry Creek, they would go ahead and take care of business against Smoky Hill 41-13. Then Mullen, they would play Overland here and beat them 26-6 here. Steffi Thomas in at quarterback, 8 of 14, 185 yards, 3 touchdowns to 2 picks for them. Also had 6 carries for 52 yards and a touchdown. Chloe Poster, 6 carries for 61 yards there. It was Aaron Gua Egbert for them, Keaton Aaron Gua Egbert, who led in receiving with 4 receptions for 78 yards and a touchdown in that game. And then on defense, Sarah Garner leaving with 11 tackles. Also have 3 sacks on defense. Sophia Cooper and Anna Rose with a pick each. For Overland, not too much here. Leslie Napier had 18 carries for 160 yards, and that is pretty much it as they fall to Mullen. Thunder Ridge would then beat Denver South in a big-time matchup here, 19-0, shutting them out. Douglas County would win by 2 points to Regis Jesuit. They'd get those 2 in the second quarter there. Jillian Cabral, 13 of 24, 98 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Also 22 rushing yards there. And then Addison Lemp, 45 receiving yards. As far as tackles go, Maria Dikalenko had 15 tackles, as well as 3 sacks. And then Aloni De Leon with 2 picks in this game. For Regis Jesuit, Nala Barnes, 13 of 24, 74 yards, 1 interception. Also had 15 rushing yards there. Their lead receiver was Ava Keene, 5 for 29 yards. And then tackle-wise, Keely Graff and Jasmine Lugo, both freshmen, led with 8 tackles. Lugo with 3 sacks in this one, and then Catherine Yuri with a pick, but a tough loss for Regis Jesuit. Mountain Vista would then play Rock Canyon, and this one would not be close. They would beat them 41-12 here. Ariana Aki, 14 of 29, 179 yards, 5 touchdowns, still only 1 pick, also 72 rushing yards. Addison Devlin got in there for 6 of 10 for 112 yards and a touchdown. Receiving wise, Riley Rivera led with 4 receptions for 74 yards and a touchdown. Braylon Looney with another big game, 7 receptions, 69 yards and 2 touchdowns. Lauren Colbro, 2 receptions for 58 yards and a touchdown, and then Liana Rivera with 2 touchdowns in this one. On defense, it was pretty spread out here, but Kaylee Besh led in tackles with 3, and then this defense had 3 picks from Lindsay Dondero, Kiana Galu, I want to say, and then Lana Collier, each getting an interception as Mountain Vista takes care of Rock Canyon. And then finally, the last game to talk about from Wednesday, September 18th, would be Grandview versus Eagle Crest. Grandview winning 7-0 here. Brooke Sullivan, 17 of 24, 121 yards. And then as far as receiving goes, Sadie Perry led with 6 receptions for 40, but it was Kenzie Dodd who had 5 receptions for 30 yards and that touchdown that would win them that game. On defense, Awada led with 8 tackles, and then she also had an interception, while Brooke Sullivan had 2 picks as they take care of Eagle Crest. Moving on to Thursday, September 19th, only a handful of games here. And one of them was a game that we already went to, so only 4 games. But we have Colorado Springs Christian versus Vista Ridge. Vista Ridge lighting it up in the second half here, winning 15-0. Ariana Harris, 6 of 12, 105 yards and a touchdown. She did not have any rushing yards. It was Brooklyn Kaiser with 87 rushing yards, Addison Rana with 32, and Ashley Yael, I want to say, with 28 yards there. Excuse me if I'm saying that wrong. Meadow Westis had 3 receptions for 78 yards. And then as far as tackles go, Sydney Bauer with 3, Gonzalez tying her with 3. Gonzalez had 2 sacks, Samira Jackson with a sack, Andre Martinez with a sack, and then Rana and Gaio here with an interception each as they take care of Colorado Springs Christian. Horizon would then play Mountain Range here and beat them 32-6 as it was not super close. Horizon stats aren't complete here. Shea Padilla had 5 carries for 78 yards and 2 touchdowns. She also had 2 receptions for 57 yards and a touchdown as they take care of business there. For Mountain Range, Linda Archuleta, 9 of 40, for 104 yards here. Her top receivers were Delilah Lucero with 2 receptions for 55, and then Sean Garth Harris, who had 2 for 28. And this one where Horizon would take care of Mountain Range 32-6. Moving on, we have Range Review versus Smoky Hill. This was a close one, but Range Review would pull it out 19-13 in a nice win for them. And then Elizabeth would play Colorado Springs Christian. This would be right before they played Vista Ridge here, and a 20-point second half would put this one away for them. Abigail Monchak, 8 of 13, 110 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick thrown in that one, and then London Machado with a rushing touchdown for them. On defense, Casaretto led them with 6 tackles, and then Olivia Nelson and Junior Madeline Franklin would each have an interception in this 20-0 win for them. And then obviously there was Elizabeth versus Vista Ridge, but make sure you check out that recap for that. Then on Friday, there was only one game here, Highlands Ranch versus Bear Creek, and this was a close one, but Highlands Ranch wins another one, this time 33-27 here at the end. Apotheker, the senior quarterback for them, that would be Catherine Apotheker, won 14 of 33, 171 yards, 1 touchdown. She also had 8 carries for 106 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns, while Addison McLeod does it again, 88 yards and 2 touchdowns in this game. McLeod also had a receiving touchdown as they win a close one against Bear Creek. Now moving on to the Saturday slate of games, that would be September 21st. A pretty good chunk of them here to go over, but let's go ahead and start with Bruce Randolph versus Northfield. This would not be a close one. Northfield would beat them 28-0 in that game. Denver South would then play Thomas Jefferson and win 56-0. Manual would then play Denver West and beat them 19-0 here. Two different quarterbacks playing in Zaniah Hall and Kaylee Walker for them. Kaylee Walker having 7 carries for 93 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns in this game, where Manual took care of Denver West. Then we had Denver North versus Vista Peak Prep here, and Denver North wins 12-6 in a low-scoring affair. Anna Smith, the Vista Peak quarterback, threw 3 picks in this game, but Araya Owens had a rushing touchdown, and then their lead receiver was actually J.C. Fafita, who had 4 receptions for 77 yards. Fafita also co-leading in tackles, along with Prabha Kafley there with 7. Kafley also having 2 sacks here. But it was the junior for Vista Peak, Goretta Vasquez de Leon, who had a whopping 3 interceptions in this winning, or I guess losing effort for Vista Peak, but a winning effort for Denver North. Very unfortunate for them there. Then we had TCA versus Doherty, and this game ended up being very close as TCA would pull it out 19-18 over Doherty. We do have some stats here. Let's start with Doherty here. Neela Thompson, 5 of 8 for 48 yards, 2 picks. On the ground, though, Alyssa Ramos, 17 carries, 163 yards, and a touchdown. Santi Keys with another 53 rushing yards as they pounded the rock. Doherty also had a sack, and then 4 interceptions, 2 from Neela Thompson, and then 2 from Madison Medellin Wittenborn. But that was obviously not enough to beat TCA. And speaking of them, let's talk about them here. Kelsey Peterson, 23 of 35, 197 yards, 2 touchdowns. It has here listed 2 picks. I don't know if that's accurate or not, because Doherty had 4 picks listed. So there you go there. Take what you want from there. Lillian Growth had 37 rushing yards. As far as receiving goes, Brooklyn Blair had 10 receptions for 109 yards and a touchdown. Brinley Mezzi had 4 for 37 here. And then it does not look like Reagan Harder got any receptions, which is kind of weird in this game there. But on defense here, Growth had 9 tackles, Osborne with 8, Lauren Pantusa had a sack, and then Brooklyn Blair had 2 picks, and then junior for them, that would be Jerica Thompson, had an interception in this 1-point win for TCA. At one point, they were up 13-0 going into half, and then Doherty would score 12 in the third quarter to make this one close, but TCA remains undefeated. Moving on, we have Dakota Ridge versus Littleton. This game was really close. Dakota Ridge beats them 13-6 only here for Littleton. Ava Palmer won 7 of 24 for 21 yards, and unfortunately 1 pick there. Ashley Plazola had 48 rushing yards. Ava Martin had 34 rushing yards. Olivia May had a rushing touchdown in this one for Littleton. Mariah Stitt and Olivia May co-leading in tackles, with Annie Fox getting a pick and Claudia Jones also getting a interception in this one. Now for Dakota Ridge, Addie Miller, 7 of 17, 76 yards, 2 picks in this game. Gabby Garces with 11 carries for 107 yards and a touchdown though here. And then on defense, Berlin Braden with 6 tackles, Darian Lewis with 6, and then Emery Bowman with a sack as the rusher there. And then Tatum Williams also had an interception as Dakota Ridge beats Littleton in that one. Cherry Creek would then take care of Overland 34-0. No surprises there. Legacy would blow out Gateway 44-6 here for Legacy. A couple players at quarterback, but Gianna Schmidt getting the majority of the passing attempts here. 7 of 13, 35 yards, 5 touchdowns in this one. Kaylee Huang had a rushing touchdown and 71 yards. Gianna Schmidt also had a rushing touchdown, and River Huang had a rushing touchdown as they take care of Gateway. Then Bruce Randolph, they would play Kennedy, and they would blow them out 43-0. Not like super surprising, but definitely, definitely something you gotta look at the very least there. Then Denver North, they would go ahead and they would play Aurora Central in this game here, and they would win. Denver North would win 6-0 there. So there you go, a close game for them. George Washington would then play Manual, and they would beat them 22-18 in a close one here. That does matter there, but George Washington coming out with the dub. For Manual, though, Kaylee Walker, 9 of 14, 124 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, also had 89 rushing yards and a touchdown. Those 2 touchdowns both to Zaniah Hall, the junior, who had 3 receptions for 72 yards, but not enough to beat G-Dub. Denver South would blow out Lincoln 42-0. Green Mountain would blow out Littleton 47-0. Chloe Verbeek 8 of 17, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, but Avery Friedman got in there, went 9 of 11 for 93 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game. As far as receiving goes, Marissa Van Gilder 5 receptions, 76 yards there. And then on defense, Carly Cochran with 8 tackles. Sylvia Emmons got a sack. Caitlin Hurdle got a sack, and then Julia Schaefer adds on another 2 picks. And then I want to say Sylvia Emmons also got an interception in this game as they take care of Littleton here. Doherty would then blow out Coronado 42-0. No stats from Doherty, but stats from Coronado. Sydney Ramirez 6 of 15, 28 yards, 3 interceptions here. Gonzalez also threw 3 interceptions for them. On defense, Kennedy Berry was busy with 20 flag pulls here. That is a lot, by the way. Also had an interception, but obviously that did not do a lot for Coronado as they fall to Doherty. Arvada West would then play Chatfield, and this one would not be close. Arvada West blows them out 41-0. They scored 20 in the first quarter, and this one was over. Sailor Swanson, 22 of 35, 269 passing yards, 5 passing touchdowns, also added on 75 rushing yards and a touchdown in this one. Molly Shellpepper, 8 receptions, 125 yards, and the hat trick, 3 touchdowns. Sarah Walker, 5 receptions, 66 yards, and 2 touchdowns in this one as they take down Chatfield. Moving on here, let's go ahead and talk about George Washington versus Denver West. This was not a close game. George Washington wins 43-6 over Denver West as they're on a roll. Aurora Central would beat Vista Peak 20-18 here. For Vista Peak, Anna Smith had the majority of the snaps, won 12 of 24, 116 yards, 1 touchdown to 3 picks though. And then it looks like a freshman quarterback was put in. That would be Genesis Luvanos, I want to say. But she kind of struggled still too, 5 of 16 for only 85 yards. Oriah Owens had 9 carries for 78 yards and a touchdown. JC Fafita with another receiving touchdown. And then Vasquez de Leon leading in receiving yards and receptions, 8 receptions for 93. But that was not enough for Vista Peak as they fall to Aurora Central. Then Kennedy would play Northfield here. It looks like it was a forfeit as Northfield only has 1 point here, so that's what I'm going to take it as. Lincoln will then beat Thomas Jefferson 20-0 in not a shocking game, but definitely somewhat shocking. In a big 4A matchup here, Green Mountain would take down Dakota Ridge 20-6 here. It was close at half. It was 8-6, but a 12-point fourth quarter for Green Mountain would give them the lead. For Dakota Ridge, a different quarterback here, Berlin Braden, who went 7 of 29 for 42 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 picks, as she kind of struggled there. Darian Lewis with 6 carries for 25 yards, Addie Orr with 4 for 18, and Kate Barbick with 6 for 34 and a touchdown for them. That was obviously not enough. Emery Bowman with 2 sacks, by the way. For Green Mountain, this was a big win here. Looks like Avery Friedman got the majority of the snaps in this one. She went 12 of 30 for 119 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick here. But for this team, Kara Harris had 18 yards. Friedman added another rushing touchdown here. Marissa Van Gilder, 6 of 92. 6 receptions for 92 yards, and then Sasha Kalani, 9 receptions for 45 yards and a touchdown as they take care of Dakota Ridge here, 20-6. Oh, by the way, 4 interceptions by Julia Schaefer in this big-time matchup here. Then we got some 5A action, Chatfield versus Ralston Valley. Chatfield beats them 26-18. No stats from Chatfield, which is unfortunate because that would be a potential Playmaker of the Week candidate home there. But for Ralston Valley, Zoe Zoll kind of back in a groove here, 32 of 44. 293 yards, 4 touchdowns, only 1 pick. Also had 24 rushing yards here. Shelby Calismo kind of had a great day here. 7 receptions, 76 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Carmen Johnson, 9 receptions for 71 yards and a touchdown. And Izzy Bussey, 5 for 48 and a touchdown in this game. This Ralston Valley defense had 5 sacks here from Savannah Barnes, La Barbera, the senior, and then Savvy Dortic with 1, and then Shelby Calismo adding on another 2, and then Riley DeJesus with an interception. But all of that just to lose by 1 score here. Only 8 points in a game against a very talented Chatfield team. So there you go there. Still a couple more games left. We only have 4 more from this Saturday. We have TCA versus Coronado here. TCA just unloading on them 47-12. Kelsey Peterson, 19 of 34, 202 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Lillian Grothwitz, 74 rushing yards. Claire Moore had 1 big run for 45 yards. As far as receivers go, Reagan Harder got more involved in this one. 2 receptions for 82 yards here. Brooklyn Blair, 3 for 32, and Madeline Mork here, 2 for 31. As far as defense goes for them, Kate Osborne with 6 tackles, Claire Moore with a sack, Lauren Pantusa with a sack, Brooklyn Blair with 2 picks, and then Thompson the junior with an interception there. For Coronado, Sydney Ramirez, 15 of 30 for 134 yards and 2 picks. The junior Gonzalez had 5 carries for 67 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also 5 receptions for 49 yards, but obviously that would not be enough to beat TCA. Ralston Valley would then play Columbine, and I think this was right before their Chatfield game, and they would win a thriller in double overtime, 31-25 here. Zoe Zoll back on it here, 28 of 39, 325 yards, 5 touchdowns, only 1 pick. Also 28 rushing yards for them. As far as receiving goes, Shelby Calismo had a big game, 4 receptions, 76 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. Carmen Johnson, 5 receptions, 67 yards and a touchdown. Izzy Bussey, 4 for 56 and a touchdown. And Emma O'Connor, 4 for 44 and a touchdown there. On defense, Gracie Hodgson, had 14 flagpoles here, tackles. Emma O'Connor with 10. Shelby Calismo had 8. Izzy Bussey with 8 here. Calismo also had 2 sacks here. McKenna Cadwell had a sack here. Cadwell, huh? And then La Barbera had a sack. And then Zoe Zoll had an interception as they go ahead and win a thriller against Columbine, 31-25. Then we had Grandview versus Cherokee Trail, and this one was not close. Grandview wins 37-6 here. Brooks Sullivan, 12 of 16, 159 yards, and a touchdown and 1 pick thrown. But rushing touchdowns from Tierra Goodgain, Brooks Sullivan, Solvi Yude, I want to say, and Mackenzie Rigsby would give them that big-time dub for Grandview. And then I believe that is actually it. It's not it. Eagle Crest, they played Smoky Hill here, and Eagle Crest would beat them 19-0. So there you go. Now that is it for Saturday, September 21st here. Now there's only one game left, or 1 day left, and it's today's games. September 23rd, Monday. Only 2 games to talk about here briefly, but it's Overland versus Aurora Central, and then Thornton and Kennedy. In that Overland-Aurora Central game, Overland wins big, 47-7 over Aurora Central. No stats as of right now, but Leslie Napier has been named their player of the game for Overland. In that Thornton versus Kennedy game, Thornton would win that one 38-7. A 38-point first half would put them up there. Their young quarterback, the sophomore number 7, Kiana Thompson, went 8 of 16 for 128 yards and 5 touchdowns thrown in this game. 2 of them caught by Maggie Lee, 2 by the sophomore Manchego, and then 1 by Rosalind Klein, and then the other one by freshman Cora Rubius, I want to say, as they win big over Kennedy 38-7 in that matchup. So there you go there. That'll wrap up our recap of games that we were not able to attend this past week. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk about Playmaker of the Week here. Let's start in 4A. A lot of options to pick from, but I think we gotta go with the option that we saw live, and that would be Mullen's sophomore stud defensive player, Sarah Gardner, one of their star rushers and linebackers for them. In this double overtime win, not only did she make play after play, but she made plays when it mattered. In this game, she would end with 14 tackles on defense, a whopping 7 sacks in this game, and 2 interceptions in that 1.26-25 thriller over Arapahoe there. So there you go there. That is the sophomore from Mullen, Sarah Gardner, for them. Now, 5A was kind of tough, a lot of options to pick from, but we felt pretty good about this one, and we have to go with Ralston Valley's freshman player, Shelby Colosimo. She had 2 carries for 16 yards rushing, but she also led in receiving with 4 receptions and 76 yards and 2 touchdowns, while also having 8 tackles, 2 sacks, 4 hurries, by the way, in Ralston Valley's first win, I believe, against a top 10 or top 10 level opponent here this season. And that was an overtime win, 31-25, where the freshman Shelby Colosimo made those plays. So that is your 5A Week 5 Playmaker of the Week. Alrighty, let's go ahead and talk about power rankings here after Week 5. In case you don't know how we do them, myself, Cody, and Gino, at least for 4A, we go ahead and rank teams 1 through 10 individually. If any team by us is ranked at 1, I give them 10 points, 2 9 points, 3 8 points, and so on and so on. Then I add up the points, and then the team with the most points is near the top, while the team with the least amount of points is near the bottom here. So that is kind of how we average out these rankings. Myself, Cody, and Gino do the voting in 4A, and then it's just me and Gino in 5A. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into 4A here. So last week, we had Denver West, Elizabeth, and Denver North all getting votes, but just outside here. At 10 was George Washington, 9 Air Academy, 8 Dakota Ridge, 7 Vista Ridge, 6 Mullen, 5 Evergreen, 4 Pomona, 3 Green Mountain, 2 TCA, and at number 1 was Mountain View. Now, this week just outside is George Washington. Myself and Cody each put them at 10 in our personal rankings. Gino did not have them ranked here, but Cody said this about G-Dub: just going to sneak in G-Dub here after a very fruitful Saturday, yielding 65 total points to only 24 allowed. So there you go there. We both put them there. But at 10, officially in our PMC rankings, is Elizabeth, who is 5th. I don't have them ranked, but Cody and Gino both have them ranked at 9. Cody said still have a winning record and are in striking distance of Vista Ridge according to the scores. Gino says Cardinals almost got that win over Vista Ridge, but I'm going to move the team to my top 10 anyway since I really liked what I saw from their defense. Agreed there. I feel like this game was not as close as it looked like scoring-wise, but I get Elizabeth kind of being in contention here. Now at 9, it stays the same. It is Air Academy here. Gino just said DNP for them, and then same for me, so not much to say there. At 8 is Dakota Ridge, who stays right here. This is what Cody had to say. This team has some studs, but I think they have shown that they are not quite in that upper echelon, or not quite a contender with some of their losses there. Gino had this to say about Dakota Ridge: what do you get when you have 3 straight losses and an offense that isn't particularly great at passing the ball? Trouble. Trouble is what you get, and so they are sitting at 10 for Gino. Now at 7 is Evergreen, who does drop a couple of spots here. They did not play this week here, and that's what Cody and Gino basically said, but it's more because of other teams moving ahead of them because they did play, so it's nothing against Evergreen there. Now at 6 is Vista Ridge, who does move up a spot here. Cody said this: the Wolves had a good week with some solid wins over Colorado Springs Christian and Elizabeth. Gino had this to say about Vista Ridge. He said another team with a ton of athletes and talent, but they just don't have an offensive scheme that would make them real contenders, which I kind of agree with. It's a very young program, so a very fast turnaround is what they had. And so their defense, I feel like, is down. And offensively, we would love to see a little bit more consistency there. Now at 4 is Pomona, who does drop a spot here. They did not play this week, but this is what Gino had to say. Despite the record, everyone knows that Pomona is one of the biggest threats in this classification, which I absolutely agreed with there. They're a team that has a lot of talent. They could score the ball quick, and then defensively, they got some nice schemes over there. They're very well coached. And so look out for Pomona. They did not play this week, but this is definitely a team that should have a pretty successful end of the regular season. Now at 4 is Mullen, who does move up a spot here. This is what Cody had to say about Mullen. This team is talented with a fantastic defense, and with the athletes they have are a threat for state. Gino had this to say here: after finally getting to see Mullen play, I can honestly say that this team is as talented as they come. That defensive front would make any team in the state uncomfortable, and the secondary is locked down as well. The only problem is that their offensive scheme is highly, in all caps, questionable. They have their left-handed quarterback rolling out the wrong side on play action 90% of the game, and they use their 5'8" and taller receivers in jet sweeps instead of using their height to their advantage, which I gotta agree with. I think against a lot of better defenses, that's not an offense that's gonna go off against them. Especially when they gotta play teams that have a solid defense and offense, they could run into some issues, but the talent's definitely there. They're tall, they're athletic. But there is definitely a lot more to be desired on offense for sure here. So there you go. But that's Mullen at 4, moving up. Now our top 3 stays the same here. At 3 is Green Mountain. We all have them ranked at 3. Cody says this squad just keeps rolling and got a convincing win over Dakota Ridge over the weekend to retain their status as a top 3 team. Gino says Green Mountain stays at 3 this week with a very talented receiving corps and a quarterback that isn't afraid to take risks. Agreed there. Arguably, that's what makes her one of the more dangerous quarterbacks in the state, because of her confidence to make whatever throws they need to go win. So there you go. Now at 2 is TCA. Cody said the close win over Doherty might be their most important to date, to have pulled out a close one to officially own the Springs. We will also be paying attention to that Valor Christian game as another gauge. Gino said this: TCA can make things very interesting if they can make things close against Valor when they play them. As of right now, it's September 23rd, 2024, when I'm recording this segment, I am going to be going to that game tomorrow at Valor, and I look forward to it. I think it should be a fun one. This will definitely be TCA's toughest opponent of the season here. I don't know if they'll play a tougher opponent than them, and so we'll see what happens there. And I think it'll be, like Cody and Gino said, it'll be a good gauge to see where they're actually at. Now at number 1 still here in 4A is Mountain View. Gino says obviously the best team in 4A, and then Cody says 9-0. Nothing more we gotta say. They're undefeated, they're dominating, they're physical, they're great on both sides of the ball, and as you will see here with our end of the year, or I guess mid-season award races, you will see that they are up there for a reason. They got a lot of great players and a great coach, so be on the lookout for that. But there you go. That's our 4A rankings. Just outside is George Washington. At 10 is Elizabeth, 9 Air Academy, 8 Dakota Ridge, 7 Evergreen, 6 Vista Ridge, 5 Pomona, 4 Mullen, 3 Green Mountain, 2 TCA, and at number 1 is Mountain View. Now let's get to 5A here, where it's just me and Gino on these rankings here. But last week, just outside was Thunder Ridge and Horizon. At 10 was Denver South, 9 Columbine, 8 Heritage. Tied at 6 was Legend and Ralston Valley. At 5 was Valor Christian, 4 Arvada West, 3 Chaparral, 2 Cherry Creek, and at number 1 was Mountain Vista. Now this week, things are interesting. There's a lot of teams bunching up just outside here. We got 3 teams just outside the top 10 in Heritage, North Glen, and Horizon here. Heritage got a vote from Gino. They're at 10 for him. He said this: the loss of Ryan Taylor is absolutely catastrophic for Heritage. I will keep them in my top 10 for now, though, because I want to see how they respond without Taylor. I do not have Heritage in my top 10 right now, and it's because there's been a huge mix-up here in 5A, especially in these last 5, right before we get to the top 5 there. But the loss of Ryan Taylor is massive. I don't know what her injury status is as of right now is if she's done for the season or if she could come back for playoffs or at some point this season. I don't know. If she can, that's massive for them. If she can't, they're going to have to figure some things out on defense because she really did a lot for them. And so just keep an eye on that. We'll see what happens for Heritage there. Now, at 10, we have a tie. It's Columbine and Chatfield here. Columbine moving down a spot. Chatfield moving back up into our top 10. This is what Gino had to say about Columbine. He said this, if it wasn't for that double OT loss to Ralston Valley, the Rebels would be a top 8 team. That is a tough loss to take there. For Chatfield, I have them at my 9 spot instead, and so that's why they tie for 10 here. For Chatfield, I mean, they got a good win over Ralston Valley, but they also got blown out by Columbine while playing Arapahoe, kind of close here. And that's not a team that's in our top 10, and so Chatfield is interesting. It could be that they're gaining some momentum and some heat here late in the season, but we will see. I like what Chatfield has. I've always had, but they got to figure out something schematically over there, so we'll see. Now, at 9 is Douglas County, who's moving up from being unranked. I have them ranked up here because, Douglas County, if you go ahead and look at their schedule, they're on a roll. They are 5-3. They are on a 5-game winning streak here, just beating Heritage most recently, then Rock Canyon, Eagle Crest, Cherokee Trail, and Pondo, by scores that weren't close. And that's after going 0-3 against teams like Mountain, Vista, Valor, and Legend, who are all in, our top 10 or have been in our top 10. And so I am interested in Douglas County. I am hoping to potentially see them versus Heritage here. That'll be at 7:30. And so we'll see what happens in that game. I think that's a very interesting game for both teams kind of vying for this top 10 spot here. So we'll see what happens there. Now, at 8 is Ralston Valley. Myself and Gino both have them ranked. Gino said this, that double OT win over Columbine is keeping the Mustangs within my top 8 instead of on the brink of just being outside. For me, I have them at 10 because that is a tough loss to take versus Chatfield, and I couldn't rank them above Chatfield just yet. I think this is a team that is recovering from some things, figuring out their mojo and who they are in some ways. And just seeing what they got outside of their seniors who have been established. And so I'm interested in seeing what Ralston Valley does moving forward. It's interesting to see them go to double OT with Columbine and then lose to Chatfield, right? So a lot of movement here, but we'll see. Now, at 7 is Thunder Ridge, who moves up from being unranked here. Gino and I both had them at the same spot. This is what Gino said. Thunder Ridge is a tough team to rank, but I have them at 7 after they shut out a 10-ranked Denver South, which I have them here as well for the same reason. They're a team that we definitely have to see live before the playoffs because I can't figure out quite yet. So we'll see about them, but for now, they move up. Now, everything from 1 to 6 is pretty much the same. We do have a tie at 5, though, in Legend and Valor Christian once more. I'm putting Legend over Valor. Gino has Valor over Legend. This is what Gino... Let's talk about Valor first. This is what he had to say about Valor. The Eagles have done nothing but murder teams since they lost to Arvada West. Easily a top 5 team in the state, which I agree with. I just have Legend ahead right now. This is what Gino had to say about Legend. Only 2 losses this season, and they were to a couple top 4 teams. Legend is definitely pounding on the door to enter the top 5. I like Legend's resume a little bit more than Valor's. That's why I have them above Valor. So there you go. Now at 4, we're in agreement. It's Arvada West. Gino says it feels weird having Arvada West at 4, but I can't have them over Cherry Creek and Mountain Vista, who they both lost to, or Chaparral, who's undefeated, which I gotta agree with. Now at 3 is Chaparral here. Gino says this, the Wolverines answered any questions about their dominance after beating Heritage 26-7, and it was a pretty dominant 26-7, albeit it coming in the absence of Ryan Taylor for the most part there. But Chaparral is a team that I like a lot defensively and offensively. They're disciplined. They're not going to make too many mistakes here, and they're very smart. So I like where they're at. We'll see how the rest of this season goes for them. Now at 2 is Cherry Creek. Gino says another strong week for them as they made light work of Overland and Smoky Hill, which is to be expected. And then, as you expect, it's Mountain Vista here still. Gino says you already know who's number one this week, one of the 2 undefeated teams in the state right now in 5A. So things, for the most part, pretty much stay the same here in our top 5, top 6 here in 5A. It's that back end, which is really interesting, as they will battle it out over there for playoff positioning here in the coming weeks. So there you go there. But just outside in our 5A power rankings is Heritage, North Glen, and Horizon. Tied at 10 is Columbine and Chatfield. 9, Douglas County. 8, Ralston Valley. 7, Thunder Ridge. Tied at 5 is Legend and Valor Christian. 4 is Arvada West. 3, Chaparral. 2, Cherry Creek. And at number 1 still is Mountain Vista. Alright, well, that'll do it for this episode 403. But before we close it up here, we do have one last announcement here. So this is the plan. As of September 25th, that's when this episode should be out, when a lot of you will be listening to it. A couple graphics will come out for our mid-season award races. Now, obviously, these are not final. The order of the players is not the order that we are favoring our finalists and whatnot. I believe I did my best to make it by seniority, so class year and then school in alphabetical order, or as close as it could get there. But, you know, these are the players that we are considering for these awards here. A lot of different players are being considered for these awards. In case you are not familiar with how we do our awards, we have a couple of different categories. First things first, we have the best positions here. So best quarterback, rusher, linebacker, DB, utility player, and wide receiver. This is the same format that we have done the last couple years in our women's college flag football coverage. Make sure you check out those episodes whenever you get the chance. And so we will nominate a number of players there. At the end of the regular season, we will select 4 finalists, and then we will go ahead and put those players up to a vote. So I have a vote, and Gino has a vote for sure. And then you, the fans, will have a vote. You will be able to vote on Twitter/X for these finalists, and that'll count in our end of the year awards episodes. So just keep that in mind for the future. But like I said, these award races are not final. If you have players that you'd like for us to consider, go ahead and let us know. We will obviously keep an eye on them. And if you are a coach or a parent or someone involved in an organization, please, and I mean please, put in the stats that you have or send us the stats. We will take those as well. We've done that with colleges before when doing these awards. We understand if you want to keep those stats private, but obviously we would like to keep those for consideration here, especially because we're not able to see every team in the state. I think we've done our best effort to see every top 10 team in 5A and 4A this year, but even then, there's teams that we definitely are missing, and so we don't want to miss anybody. We're doing our best to get a good look at players here before the regular season ends, but like I said, there's only so much you could do. Numbers really do help, and they do tell a little bit of the story, not the whole story, but a little bit of it, or at least pique our interest, which I think is very important there. So stats are huge, but it's not completely reliant on the ability of players being nominated as finalists here in the last coming weeks. But, you know, we're at the halfway point during the season here of the girls flag football season, so we wanted to make sure we gave an update. But those are the, I guess, awards that we have for that. We also have awards for MVP, offensive playmaker, defensive playmaker, newcomer of the year, which always goes to a freshman starting on varsity, and then coach of the year. There are award nomination restrictions there, so if you're nominated for MVP, you can't be nominated for OPOY or DPOY there. But the only one where you can be nominated for 2 is if you are an MVP, OPOY, or DPOY, and you are also nominated as a newcomer of the year candidate. That can be done. So the only way for a player to get 2 of those awards there, MVP, OPOY, DPOY, NCOY, is if they get a newcomer of the year nomination and then one of the other ones. So just throwing that out there, we want to make sure that we highlight as many players in this great state as possible, give them exposure for, you know, potential college opportunities to go play flag football, which would be big time. And obviously, we are very open to helping whoever may be interested in that. Just send us a DM. But just keep that in mind. So we will see. I mean, things will change. Nominations will change. There might be some MVP candidates that we move around. There might be some OPOY and DPOY candidates that we move to MVP and whatnot. So we will see what happens. These last 5 weeks or so will be pretty important in that decision. But, if you want to keep up with us, make sure you follow us at Playmakers Corner, anywhere you can listen to podcasts, and show us some love on social media at Playmakers Corner. We've been posting highlights, by the way, on TikTok, so make sure you check that out. Good numbers on those, which I'm very happy about, and just a great job being able to cover as many games as possible. Thank you so much for the support. This is honestly great to cover even without the support. I think we'd obviously still do that, but we've seen some excellent games so far this season, and we're looking to a great second half here and playoffs, which should be pretty interesting. But until next time, I'm your host, Simon Villanos, aka Coach V. This is episode 403, your Week 5 Colorado Girls High School Flag Football recap, and I'll catch you next week.